And we are live. What's up, everybody? Here to talk some USC football and oh, Carlos is here. Carlos, if you hit the knock button, we can get it kicked off. I apologize for being late, everybody, but the grass needed mowed. Bring Carlos in now. Give it a second and we can see what all this USC stuff is all about. It should be. What happened? No, I don't want that tab. Hit that knock button again, Carlos. For some reason it wouldn't let me bring you in. All right, let's try this again.
There we go. We're in business.
There's the guy.
You got a nice background, too.
Well, just some beer cans, some Cub stuff. So, we got the USC flag. So,
where's the rest of the schmucks?
They should be joining. I think Nick told them 7:45. So they'll probably.
I thought you said 35. So.
Well.
How can you see who's all on?
I can see it from my screen. It's just me and you right now, and then we have an anonymous watcher that needs to create an account so we can see who that person is. It's
State
probably
your name.
Yeah, it's probably like Dave or something like that.
It's probably Bill. He's ashamed to be himself.
Nick just sent me a screenshot. He says your face is muddled. Maybe turn your phone sideways to make it a bigger picture.
Mine?
Yeah. See if the portrait's better. Yeah, that's a lot better on my screen.
Okay.
But so I guess we'll get a little bit of this started. USC to the Big Ten. What are your expectations?
My expectations for next year or this year?
Well, this year, I mean, the expectations are really high.
But they don't join till next year. That's what I'm saying. So this year or next year's expectations?
Well, we can preface it with this year. What are your expectations this year?
2 losses. I think they'll get 2 losses.
I don't have the schedule pulled up in front of me, but I feel like, Nick said the picture's good the way you got your camera. And also, this is going to go on YouTube. It's not going to be edited, doctored, or anything like that.
What if I get you censored with what I say?
Well, as long as you don't talk about
we don't say those words. Bill,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Because there was I'm trying to get my TV to work right now, but there was some things that I seen on YouTube that some people said a combination of words and their whole channels got deleted. Yeah. And they had about 20,000 followers. So
I don't have my laptop or anything, so I don't know the schedule. You got to pull up the schedule so you can go through the wins and losses.
Yeah, I'm getting it pulled up right now. I'm trying to get my TV in the garage figured out because YouTube TV is going to be a pain in. It's not a pain in the ass, but it's been interesting, to say the least. So, when it comes to USC this year, they've got kick it off with a banger, Rice. Then they go to Palo Alto up in Stanford, Fresno State, Oregon State, which I think that's going to be your guys'.
Oh yeah. It's always a tough game up there.
And then Arizona State, Washington State, Utah, which I'm really shocked that the coaches poll had them ranked 20th this year, because I think Cam Rising's back, and I hold on.
Dalton Kincaid went to the NFL, so that was their
most
of their offense right there. Pretty sure that Kincaid went to the pros.
Okay, sorry about that. I was looking at last year's schedule. So you kick it off with San Jose State, then you go to Nevada. Well, you're at home for San Jose State, home for Nevada, home for Stanford. Then you go on the road to Arizona State, and then you're at Colorado. And the reason why I think at Colorado will be tough is because it's going to be a sold-out crowd. It's not going to be... I don't know what Colorado is going to be, to be honest.
I think it'll be close first half. Second half will be all the recruiting. I think USC is deeper with their bench. So the second half is where I see USC pulling away.
The only thing that worries me is I don't have any insight on Shadur Sanders when it comes to his how do I want to put this? His pocket presence and things of that sort, because I haven't seen any practice tape of him. So I haven't had anybody send me any. I know some people that have watched him, and everybody that I've talked to that has watched him at Boulder has said he's 100%. He's nailed on. So I think that'll be a tough game.
Yeah, we'll see.
It just depends upon if Alex Grinch, opens up that defensive playbook. That's the tough part.
There is no defense with that guy. He's just going to try to score you, but
when you go down to Arizona's at home, which that's a cupcake. I know they're a Power 5 school, but and then you got the big one. It's already a 7:30 start at Notre Dame.
Yeah, that'll be, I guess, whoever your guys' Notre Dame's quarterback, that's going to make or break, I think, your guys' season, depending on how he does. It's a new quarterback coming in, right?
Yeah, Sam Hart
from Boston College.
No. It's Wake Forest. Sam Hartman.
Wake Forest. Yeah.
Sam Hartman, I think, is the best quarterback coming out in the draft this year. I'm telling you, I think he's the most NFL ready. And then USC gets an easy route on this one. You get Utah at home.
That ain't easy. They whooped their asses the last couple of years at home anyway.
Utah, whenever I think of the Pac-12, Pac-10, whatever you say, I think Utah kind of runs it. Kyle Whittingham's got a really good program there in Eugene. He's got a real choke on that Utah recruiting, and that's why I think BYU has fell off in the past couple of years, because of his ability to recruit the Polynesian kids out of around the state and from Hawaii, and get them big old beefy fuckers to go there. And then you got Cal. I'm not a Cal fan. Cal can get fucked. Michael Drake can get fucked. I'll cut that up. Everybody from Minnesota Sports can, pretty much Michael Drake can get fucked. And then Washington at home.
At Washington or at USC?
Oh. It's at the Coliseum.
Oh, that's gonna be a. See, you could sling it because they got. Is it Penix or whatever?
Yeah, Michael Penix Jr. He can sling it. I think that's a tough one.
And he's got all his wide receivers back, I think, this year.
Yep. After that, you guys kind of got fucked on the back end of your schedule. Even though you got UCLA at home to end the season, you got to go to Oregon, Washington, and then you get Cal, and then you have Utah, and then you got to make that trip, which is into Big Ten country at Notre Dame. So basically your last 5 games is you're going to figure out what's going on. That is this year. But if you fast forward, going forward, you've got also another impending issue in Lincoln Riley. You guys might have to replace a head coach after this year.
I don't see that happening, especially if he's got a good year. He's got a good year this year.
I don't know. You drop one at Notre Dame and you drop Washington, drop Oregon, and don't make the playoff.
Yeah, but you got playoff the following year with the expanded playoffs, so you could have 1 or 2 losses and still potentially make the playoffs.
But the guy that you guys brought in as a analyst, Cliff Kingsbury, was just the coach at Arizona, and he couldn't fake the funk hard enough because Kyler wasn't the guy. Arizona more than likely is going to have the first overall pick and the second overall pick. You could potentially draft Marvin Harrison Jr. and Caleb Williams back to back.
I don't know. I think he's got a good program running. I think he's gonna give it a shot, at least a year, if not 2, in the Big Ten. See how it fares out. If it goes south, that's when he's gonna run.
He picked up his bags and ran to USC whenever Oklahoma dropped the bomb that they were going to the SEC.
Oh, I don't think I think it had. Is the money the same, or was the money right at Southern Cal?
The money was comparable.
So if you got similar money, softer schedule with the team that can recruit, Southern Cal is one of the better producing states for football players. So a lot of the 5 stars come out of there and they go all over the place. So if he establishes a good relationship with recruiting there, he's set to win.
It sounds good on paper, but going to the NFL is the golden goose. There's only 32 of those jobs. There's 50 Power 5 jobs?
Yeah, but I think they're not dumb. They understand the odds of being or making it in the NFL. Who's made it from the college besides in the last couple of 20, 30 years besides Pete Carroll? Everybody else is
Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they're pretty far in between. So
and also Pete had a cup of coffee. He went to a Super Bowl with the Patriots back in '94. Didn't win it, but he built that roster, built that team, and it's one of those things that the NFL is the pinnacle when it comes to football coaching, in my opinion. Saban went there, had a cup of coffee, didn't work out. I would call that tough sledding for him. He did go to Miami, but
what about Urban Meyer? That's your other guy. He
Herb ain't done yet. There's
he could lie his way and weasel his way in college. He can't do it in the NFL. All that stuff he pulls won't work with all grown men and more serious organization. In college, it works because he runs the show from top to bottom. Even if he's just a head coach, he's probably got more pull when he was at Ohio State than the athletic director. Everything ran through him. Same thing when he was in Florida. Hell, they
Yeah.
didn't even prosecute a murderer down in Florida. They never even investigate him. So, the guy's built to run college football.
I mean, the program that Herb runs, that's why it comes and goes and it bursts. For 4 years, Urban Meyer's going to have the best team in the country for 3 out of the 4 years because it's such a grind. I don't think he'll let Jacksonville be the last skid mark on his resume. I think he's going to end up at A&M. I believe he'll end up at A&M.
Or they've been saying rumors that Ryan Day, if he's got an off season or a bad year, I could see him going back there because I think he's part of Ohio State right now. He's not somewhere in the program. I'm not exactly sure what his role is, but he's back at Ohio State. So why would he be lingering around?
Ryan Day's the head coach, so I don't think he's going to move. Now, on the Ohio State front, if they lose to Michigan this year, Jim Knowles is getting fired if they don't win the Natty. Point blank, period. They're paying a defensive coordinator $2 million. If he don't win the Natty, he's getting fired. 100%. I believe so because you're not paying a guy $2 million. He gave up 117 points in his last 3 games, over 1,400 yards. They're just not doing that. They got rid of the last D coordinator. The big issue when it comes for USC coming to the Big Ten, I'm pivoting on this point. They want USC at Michigan and they want USC at Ohio State and vice versa.
How early in the year?
That's the problem because I think they'll give Ohio State they'll give them Minnesota, or they'll give them. I mean, I can't say Illinois because Illinois is really good right now with Brett Bielema. I want to see how they break down the divisions before I can give an actual depiction on next year, because you've got the problem you have being a USC fan is you have Matt Rule and you have Luke Fickell, which will most likely be in your division. I feel if they were smart, because Wisconsin will be a big game for USC and so will Nebraska. Matt Rule can coach some football. To whoever's listening, Matt Rule is a good football coach, in my opinion. He fizzled out in the NFL, but then again, they didn't give him any tools to work with. He was basically, we'll give you a good O-line, we'll give you a good defense, but quarterback, you're fucked. And in the NFL, you need a Q. So that's where I'm at on that one. I think Luke Fickell, with him plucking Phil Longo from UNC, Drake Mays, offensive coordinator, will cause a bunch of problems. Outside of that, I think Minnesota will be there, and I don't know how long Bielema will be at Illinois. I think he ultimately ends up at Iowa. That's his alma mater. Kirk Ferentz was his coach. I don't think that going to get rid of Brett Bielema anytime soon, and he is from the Wisconsin school. Run the ball, take the air out of the ball, run the ball at you, and that's what it is. And Illinois will probably cycle through coaches. I think they put Purdue possibly in the West Division, maybe, with Minnesota. PJ Fleck is a weirdo fuck, just strange dude. Got it on good information. People that know him say the dude basically is a fucking weirdo. So I don't think you'll have to worry about Minnesota until they hire a real coach.
Well, with all the teams joining, I think all the schedules are not even remotely going to be accurate of whatever they're portrayed so far, with Oregon joining and Washington. So, I mean, they're going to be in the same division. I see them playing USC on the second part of the schedule.
I think they'll take the Number 11 has joined us. I think they'll definitely take. They will stick the pack opponents at the beginning of the schedule because the Big 12, and the reason why I say this is because the Big 12 had a huge issue with opposing teams in the conference going horns down. Whenever like Tech would score a touchdown on them, they give them the horns down or what the fuck ever. And the Big 12 instituted basically for Texas that is a penalty. And I think the SEC schools are just going to look at them and say, huh? Yeah, okay, sounds
Yeah, that
good.
ain't gonna work.
Get back in your hole now. But, you know, with the realignment, I think it's just wild that, you know, Stanford doesn't have a home, but the reason why they don't with Cal is because they're academic institutions, and I don't think they figured out that football drives the bus. And I mean, because you grew up in California, right?
Yeah, till I was 17.
So could you imagine a day that Air Force, Boise State, San Jose State, San Diego State were Pac-10 teams?
Oh, nobody would watch that.
Exactly. So I think USC made the right move. They just got to find the right coach. I don't think Lincoln Riley is your coach for the future because I think he's a little bit of microwave dynasty that will. I mean, he's got 3 Heisman winners.
I would say that's not luck, man. you don't produce 3 Heisman in that small of a window. Was it a 5-year window or something like that?
Yeah, and
so maybe.
I think he understands offense to the degree of I can look at it and I can figure it out.
But can you stop it? Because they keep getting points no matter. All of his teams could score. That's never been an issue. You know, no matter who they played against, they were always able to score. The issue is that he brings Grinch along wherever he goes. He will not get away from Grinch. They said they're like best friends, so he lets that get in the way of you know, making the right decision on where they want to go with defense.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, Grinch was at Oklahoma with him, and I think number 11 wants you to put some money on the 2-loss prediction. I would.
Who the hell's number 11? I need a clue.
If you need a grievance, he gives you one.
Oh, I hear it. A chosen one.
Yes. I think after looking at USC's schedule, I think the 2 I would circle on there are Notre Dame, Washington, and Oregon. And I think rivalry game with UCLA, no DTR. I don't think that Chip Kelly's got the firepower to contend with USC because I think it is just going to be Lincoln's going to hang 50 on them. They're going to be like 50-35.
All right, it's going to be no defense. Typical.
So,
UCLA USC game. Who do you think is going to have a better season, though, USC or Oklahoma? That's a better question. Oklahoma moving into the SEC next year or SC in the Big Ten?
If they keep Brett Venables as their coach, they might win 4 games because he's awful. He's not a head coach. The offense was.
He gave one season. One season, you're saying he's going to be awful?
I'm surprised.
He came in. He didn't have a starting quarterback. He lost some of his coaching. I mean, you got to give the guy the benefit of the doubt. You know, he was an amazing defense coordinator. So, and then Oklahoma could recruit. I think they had a top 5 class, didn't they?
They did, but
so even with the losing record, to have that good of a recruiting, so they got the money, they got the brand. I think he's gonna struggle in the SEC.
I think you will too, because they're gonna put him in the West, and you gotta coach against Saban, and LSU and Brian Kelly are really good right now. Lane Kiffin is at Ole Miss. If they put those two teams in the West, but make no mistake, the Georgia Bulldogs are still the number one team in the land right now. I don't think there's anybody better than Georgia.
I think Ohio State is going to be the closest thing that could hang with them. I got Ohio State as being a better team offensively.
Yeah, because I think Ohio State's going to start Devin Brown this year, and I think he's got that moxie. He's got that shit to him. But then again, having a first-year starter in college football doesn't mean anything, because out of saving 7 national championships, 6 of his 7 were first-year starters.
Yeah.
So that's the road you're on. Well, not you.
With good wide receiver. That's why I'm saying Ohio State, no matter who you put in there. Is Jackson Jigba coming back? He's back, isn't he? Or no?
No, he got drafted by the Seahawks.
So Marvin Harris Jr.
Yeah, Marv Jr. and you got Emeka Egbuka, which went off when Marv.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, you're thinking of Emeka. Emeka's going to have a good year, I think, this year. I think he's going to be a first-round draft pick. And another guy for Ohio State that I think is going to be big is Julian Fleming. And number 11 wants to know who will have the better season, Bronny or the USC football team.
Bronny's retiring. He's got a heart. He doesn't have a heart anymore. That thing happened to him.
Yeah, so, I mean, and that sounds like a conversation that was had, but, Bronny, whatever. I wish you would have went to Ohio State. That'd have been cool.
Yeah, take his dad with him. That would have been really cool.
Yeah, go down there in Buckeye Land.
He's ruining my teams.
Yeah, LeBron is killing all of your teams personally. Yeah. Just let him buy the Dodgers now.
That's cool. I don't watch baseball, so maybe Magic could spit on him and give him AIDS too. Who knows?
Yeah, I think Washington. As I just keep staring at the schedule. Stanford, I don't see it. Arizona State, don't see it. I think Colorado will put up a fight. I can believe they went back to the Big 12. That's where they belong. I always thought it was a weird move for them to go to the Pac-10/12. I looking at the ticker on ESPN right now. I think they just said that they've got their Stanford and Cal are in talks right now with the ACC still. So, I mean, that's interesting stuff. But I think it's
pretty off the coast. I don't see how the football.
I don't see how
is even remotely.
And
how they fit in there.
I think another personal prediction. I think Clemson and Florida State blow up the ACC, and I think we just get down to 2 conferences.
You just need to do it like the NBA does it, East versus West. It'd be so much easier to do the playoffs and everything.
Yeah, kind of, but the majority of your major hitter schools, the only school that's passed Utah is USC. Oregon maybe on an up year.
You could throw Texas in there.
That's in Austin, but do you consider that West though?
It's Southwest. It's not called Southeast. You don't think of Texas as Southeast. You think of it Southwest. So.
Yeah, but they're in Austin. Like if I was thinking Southwest, I would think Tech because they're in Lubbock.
Yeah, I'm just saying the whole state. You probably put them on the West because when you look at the NBA format, you have the Texas teams on the West side, right?
Yeah, which is odd. The NBA format is kind of fucked up in my opinion, because they have Memphis in the West.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard for me to think about that and say, okay, Memphis is West, but they're still on the, East Coast time. I got friends that live in Cali, and it's like, they'll give you a call when you work first shift at 1:00 your time. It's like, hey man, what's going on? It's like, dude, I'm in bed.
Oh yeah.
So
3 hours difference.
yeah, that 3 hour difference is a big deal. And the only thing that I don't like about USC going to the Big Ten is it would be nice if they were at least in Central Time instead of the West Coast, because if you got to play a 3:30 game West Coast time in LA at the Coliseum, that's tough. I mean, it would be easier for teams that are on Central Time because that's just a 2 hour difference, but
Oh man, that travel ain't really gonna affect them a whole lot. You're just talking 1 game, 2 games out of the season that they're gonna have to go all the way across the country.
I think because I think Nebraska and a lot of the teams that are on Central Time will be in their time zone, so I don't think it'll be that big of a deal. But it'll be tough when they got to cross over to the Eastern Time, like when they got to go play in Piscataway at Rutgers or at Northwestern or something. Well, Northwestern's still Central Time, so. But
what's Notre Dame's schedule? We could do a USC versus Notre Dame.
I think the Irish are going to drop
Ohio State game.
I don't know about that.
It's at Ohio State, right?
No, it's in South Bend.
Okay. So do they play Clemson this year?
Yes, and they're there November 4th. They're at Clemson. They play Wake Forest, and they're at Stanford. I could see them losing that one. At Louisville, at Duke. But to kick it off, they got the game in Ireland, which is just blows me away. They have a game in Ireland. It's versus Navy, and then they got Tennessee State, Cupcake. Then they got UNC State, which that's a Newton game. That's going to be tough sledding for NC State. Just for the simple fact of the travel, they got a new starting quarterback. NC State, I don't think will be a cupcake like people think. And then they got Central Michigan before Ohio State. I think Notre Dame rolls into Ohio State 4-0. Ohio State will roll up 4-0. And then they got 2 road games back-to-back. They got to go to Duke and to Louisville. And then after those 2 games are home against USC, and then they're home against Pitt, which I don't think Pitt will put up much of a fight. And then they go to Clemson, which is TBA, which I think if Notre Dame is 1, 2, 3, 4, if they're 2-8 or 2-6 rolling into that game, that'll be a big game because I think that they won't fall out of the top 25 if they keep winning. They'll keep rolling. And then, which it's really going to be odd, they got Wake Forest coming in, which is where Sam Hartman was at, and then they end it with Stanford. I could see them puking against Stanford.
I don't know. I think that's 2 losses. I think the USC is going to get them, and I think Clemson's going to get them. Oh, that's actually 3 losses because Ohio State too.
They got 3.
That's a pretty tough schedule.
Which I think that keeps Marcus Freeman employed, to be honest. And then we can slide on over to Ohio State and see their schedule, which there's only one game circled on the calendar. They open up with Indiana, which that's going to be a win because Tom Allen doesn't have any more Kevin Wilson's guys, and they got Youngstown State, Western Kentucky at Notre Dame, Maryland at home, which That's huge for Ohio State to have Maryland at home. Just for the simple fact of they got Tua's brother, although they got Josh Gaddis, which is the worst offensive coordinator in college football behind Brian Ferentz at Iowa.
Yeah, and Maryland almost pulled it off last year, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. And then they go to Purdue, which under Urban Meyer, that was not a happy place. Boilerland was not good to Ohio State when Herb was the coach. And then they have Penn State at home, October 21st, which is...
Oh, that's always tough.
Mm-hmm.
Those are always close games.
And then they have to go the next week to Wisconsin, which is not going to be an easy task because...
Now they had a good recruiting class, too.
They did. They actually got a kid out of New Haven. I can't think of his name. He's a 4-star out of New Haven.
Huh.
And to Wisconsin, Luke Fickell and Ryan Day know each other because they were on the same staff when Fickell was the coordinator, I think, during the national championship run for the Buckeyes, I want to say. And then Michigan State, Mel Tucker is awful. And then they got the weirdo PJ Fleck. And then it is the game, November 25th, Ohio State, Michigan. And if Ohio State is undefeated going into that, I think Michigan will be undefeated going into that, even though the Hamburglar is going to be suspended for the first 4 games. They don't play anybody. I'll make you a bet. I'll bet you a case of beer if Ohio State loses to Michigan, they fire their D coordinator, Jim Knowles. Put a case of Modelo on it. Put a little skin in the game.
I think Ryan Day's out.
I don't think they'll fire Ryan Day, but I think his seat they'll light the fuse on that.
3 losses, and that'll pretty much might eliminate him out of the playoffs again. I think they might get rid of him and sneak Urban Meyer, but yeah, I'll do that bet.
Here's the problem that you have at Ohio State. There's a core group of the fan base that wants 2 things to happen. They want to beat Michigan every year, which I think it's shared between 2 fan bases, both fan bases. You got to beat Michigan. That's the common goal. Win the Big Ten, and then win the national championship, which there's 2 parts of the fan base are fractured on that, in my opinion. Just for the simple fact of some people would be, we lost to Michigan, didn't win the Big Ten, but we won the Natty, though.
Oh, man, them arrogant fuckers. Those are the most arrogant fans in all college football. They're not going to settle. They think they're national titles, contenders every single year.
Which normally they are. Since the Ohio State program has totally changed from when it was under Tressel to Urban Meyer / Ryan Day / Luke Fickell was in there for 1 year when Tressel got fired. But the biggest fan base that's the biggest freeloaders and haven't won anything hardly in my lifetime and in your lifetime is Michigan.
Or Oklahoma.
Yeah.
You got to go, 2000 the last time they won?
Yeah. Oklahoma.
USC now. It's going on 20 years.
Yeah, but I mean, the only reason Kirby Smart and Nick Saban are dominating college football is because Pete Carroll is not coaching college football.
Exactly.
So
had a pretty strong hold of the entire college program for 5-6 years?
Oh yeah, which I wouldn't
think they went 3 years without losing, 3.5 years without losing a game.
Yeah, I don't think you can rule out a Pete Carroll coming back to college. I don't think it'll be USC, but I wouldn't rule it out.
Especially with the NIL, he can go back to doing his offering money, and this time it'll be legal.
Yeah, Reggie getting that Heisman.
I was just about to say that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think they should give him the Heisman back, but the Heisman Guild, they are so fucked because when you look at the commercials, you can notice you don't see certain Heisman winners there. Like Troy Smith won a Heisman. He's not in the commercials. Johnny Manziel won a Heisman. Not in the commercials.
Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah. It was, but not anymore. Which I don't know if you've watched that Johnny Football thing. Have you seen that on Netflix? I mean, when you break it down, like they're like, oh yeah, his parents didn't come from money, blah 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 blah. But basically, they're sitting in a house at Sycamore Hills saying they didn't come from money.
Oh, I thought the grandpa owned like something that was worth millions of dollars.
No, his grandpa didn't have any money, but that's how they were funding the. If anybody hasn't watched it, spoiler alert. But that's how they were funding the autograph money. His grandpa was, would take cash and write him a check to where he could deposit it into the bank.
Gotcha.
So they were kind of laundering money, which I wouldn't have said that on a documentary. So they might, IRS might, look into that.
If Bill's watching, ask him if that's considered money laundering.
Oh.
Bill, are you there?
Yeah. So, anyway, well, I figured I'd, get you on, pick your brain. I'm going to be live on Sunday afternoons during football season. I don't know how much NFL you watch, but...
no, we need Nick on here next. So we got to find a topic for Nick and get him on here next.
Yeah. Which I'll be...
Can you add 3 people? We could discuss who's a better NBA player, LeBron or Kobe. I said, we can go on this. We do this on a daily basis. So,
all right.
All right. Nick, catch you guys later.
All right. Later, Carlos.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Just heard from the main guy, Carlos. Nick, if you're out there, you want to talk some LeBron, Kobe? Hit the knock button. We can talk it up. The chosen one is probably on the sticks. He's probably got Tower Staffing and Baldy talking to him right now. Talking mess. Yeah, so that's about the, I guess. Oh, yeah. We're having this throwdown. We're having this throwdown soon. This is going to happen soon. We're having a LeBron / Jordan / Kobe. But with that, I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to get this up on YouTube. Nicholas, text Carlos and let him know I'm going to upload it and get it ready for YouTube. So with that being said, everybody have a good one. Good night and good fucking luck. See you.